The hum of the server racks was a constant, oppressive drone, a symphony of worry fans and processing power that vibrated through the reinforced concrete floor of the abandoned data vault. Dust motes danced in the anemic glow of the emergency lights, illuminating the skeletal remains of what was once a digital fortress. This was Sector 7, a relic of a forgotten corporate war, now a tomb of encrypted secrets. And deep within its cold heart, a 5-person retrieval team from the elite Blackwood cyber-ops was fighting a losing battle. At the rear of their formation, almost an afterthought, was Alara Vane. She was small, almost fragile, her frame swallowed by the bulky, reinforced tech suit that everyone else wore with practiced ease. Her dark hair was pulled back in a severe bun, and her face, often obscured by the shadows of her hood, was pale, her eyes, the color of storm clouds, perpetually scanning, absorbing. She carried no heavy-duty plasma cutter, no EMP grenades, no high-frequency sonic disruptors. Her only visible equipment was a sleek, minimalist data slate and a pair of augmented reality goggles. That seemed too delicate for the harsh environment. Vane, anything on that encryption bypass yet? Jackson Vance, the team leader, barked into his comms. His voice, usually a confident baritone, was frayed with impatience. Jackson was all sharp angles and aggressive competence, a former military tech specialist who believed in brute force and rapid execution. He considered Alara an unfortunate, mandatory addition to his otherwise perfect team. Still analyzing the recursive algorithms, Jackson, Alara replied, her voice soft, almost swallowed by the static. The firewall is self-evolving. Standard protocols are being rejected. Rejected? What do you mean rejected? Snarled Kale, the team's primary slicer. A burly man with fingers like sausages, but a mind like a steel trap. My bypass sequence is flawless. No firewall can hold against a class of brute force. This one can, Alara stated simply, without inflection. It's learning your patterns. Each attempt strengthens its countermeasures. A scoff echoed through the comms. See, Deadweight, muttered Zara, the team's stealth and infiltration expert, her voice dripping with disdain. Always with the, it's too hard, it's too complex. Just give us a solution, Vane, or get out of the way. Alara ignored them, her gaze fixed on the complex holographic schematics projected onto her data slate. She wasn't slow, she was thorough. While Jackson and Kale hammered away at the system with their high-powered tools, creating digital explosions that only reinforced the vault's defenses, Alara was meticulously dissecting its very DNA. They saw a wall, she saw a living organism. Their mission was critical. Retrieve the Chronos Protocol, a highly volatile piece of legacy AI code rumored to be capable of rewriting historical data streams. Blackwood CyberOps had been contracted by the Global Data Consortium to secure it before it fell into the wrong hands. The vault was supposed to be a simple smash hand grab for a team of their caliber, but Sector 7 was proving to be anything but simple. They had been trapped for 3 hours now, deep within the vault's core. The main access door, a behemoth of reinforced steel and quantum-locked mechanisms, had sealed behind them, activated by an unexpected secondary security sweep. Their comms were jammed, their escape route cut off, and the Chronos Protocol, their target, was still locked behind a final, impenetrable firewall, pulsating with an eerie, almost sentient glow. Jackson slammed his fist against the vault door. Damn it, Kale, what's the status on that override? We're running out of time. The ambient radiation levels are rising. Kale, his face slick with sweat, typed furiously on his portable console. It's adapting too fast. Every time I try to inject a new sequence, it just patches itself. It's like it knows what I'm going to do before I do it. Because it does, Alara interjected, her voice still quiet, but with a new edge. It's a predictive AI. It analyzes your input, simulates outcomes, and counters them before you even finish the command. Then, what's the solution? Genius, Zara snapped, her patience worn thin. Another one of your philosophical ramblings. We need action, Vane, not an academic lecture. The only way to bypass a predictive AI of this level, Alara said, turning slowly to face them, her storm cloud eyes meeting Zara's angry gaze, is to introduce an unpredictable variable, something it cannot simulate, something that breaks its logic loop entirely. Jackson scoffed. And what, pray tell, is that? A unicorn fart. We've thrown everything at it. We haven't thrown everything, Alara replied, her voice gaining a strange, chilling calm. She reached up, her small fingers brushing against the cuff of her tech suit. With a soft click, a section of the reinforced fabric retracted, revealing her left wrist. It wasn't bare. Beneath her skin, a complex network of bioluminescent lines pulsed with a faint, internal light. They were not tattoos, but an intricate, organic circuitry embedded deep within her flesh. As she exposed her wrist, the lines began to glow brighter, shifting, rearranging themselves into a series of intricate, alien glyphs that seemed to dance across her skin. The light, initially a soft blue, deepened to an ominous, pulsating crimson. What in the Kale mumbled, his fingers freezing on his console. What is that? Vane. Some kind of bot, Jackson demanded, a flicker of unease in his eyes. Alara didn't answer. Her gaze was fixed on the glowing glyphs, her brow furrowed in concentration. As she watched, the patterns on her wrist began to coalesce, forming a sequence, a string of symbols that seemed to vibrate with latent power. And then, slowly, deliberately, a single word formed, projected in stark, holographic crimson light just above her wrist, shimmering in the dusty air. Kill the word hung there, stark and terrifying. Jackson, Kale, and Zara stared, their faces, previously etched with frustration and exhaustion, now contorted into masks of pure, unadulterated horror. Their eyes widened, their mouths fell open. The air, already thick with the hum of the servers, suddenly felt impossibly heavy, charged with an unspoken dread. No, Kale whispered, his voice hoarse, a tremor running through his burly frame. No, it can't be. That's the... ... Zara, usually so composed, took a stumbling step backward, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a gasp. Her eyes, fixed on Alara's wrist, were wide with a terror that transcended the immediate threat of the vault. Jackson, the unshakable leader, felt a cold dread seep into his bones. He knew, they all knew, the kill code, a whispered legend in the deep dark corners of the cyber warfare community. Not a code to kill people, but to kill systems. To irrevocably disable, corrupt, and dismantle any digital infrastructure, no matter how complex or secure. It was rumored to be a theoretical weapon, a doomsday key, developed by a Black Ops division so secret, its very existence was denied. It was the ultimate unpredictable variable, a digital apocalypse in a single sequence, and it was glowing on Alara Vane's wrist. You have the kill code. Jackson finally managed, his voice, a strained whisper, his eyes darting between her wrist and her calm, impassive face. Ha! Alara finally looked up, her storm cloud eyes meeting his, devoid of anger, devoid of triumph, only a profound weariness. It's a last resort, she said, her voice still quiet, but now resonating with an authority that silenced their fear. A failsafe. For when all other options are exhausted, for when the system becomes an existential threat. She turned back to the pulsating firewall, her gaze unwavering. The glyphs on her wrist intensified, the crimson light casting dancing shadows on the dusty floor. Her fingers, small and delicate, began to move, not on a data slate, but in the air, tracing patterns, manipulating the holographic projection above her wrist. It was an interface directly linked to her neural pathways, a direct conduit between her mind and the devastating power she held. The Chronos Protocol, Alara continued, her voice now a low, almost melodic hum, is not just an AI. It's a self-aware entity, designed to learn, to adapt, to control. If it leaves this vault, if it gets into the global network, it will rewrite reality. It will become an unpredictable variable of its own, but one we cannot control. Her fingers danced, weaving intricate patterns in the air. The glowing glyphs on her wrist shifted, faster now, a dizzying kaleidoscope of light and information. She wasn't typing, she was thinking the code, projecting it, willing it into existence. The air around her shimmered, crackled with an almost palpable energy. The kill code doesn't just disable, Alara explained, her eyes half closed in concentration. It finds the core logic, the root algorithms, and unravels them from the inside out. It's a digital implosion, a complete system collapse. A low, guttural groan emanated from the vault's main door, a sound of metal straining, of unseen mechanisms grinding to a halt. The emergency lights flickered, then stabilized, but the oppressive hum of the server racks began to falter, stutter, then die. The air grew colder, the silence deepening, broken only by the sharp intake of breaths from Jackson, Kale, and Zara. Alara's movements became more intense, more focused, her brow furrowed, a bead of sweat tracing a path down her temple. The crimson glow from her wrist pulsed like a dying star, then flared, blindingly bright, casting their faces in stark, terrified relief. And then, with a final, almost silent thrum, the light vanished. The glyphs on her wrist receded, fading back into the subtle, bioluminescent lines beneath her skin, leaving only a faint, lingering warmth. The vault was silent, utterly, profoundly silent. The pulsating firewall, which moments ago had throbbed with malevolent energy, was now dark, inert. The main access doors, previously impenetrable, stood ajar, a sliver of the outside world visible through the gap. The ambient radiation levels, which had been steadily climbing, had plummeted back to normal. The Chronos Protocol, and the system that housed it, was gone. Not deleted, not merely disabled, but utterly, irrevocably killed. Jackson, Kale, and Zara stood frozen, their eyes wide, their bodies rigid with a fear that had nothing to do with the vault. and everything to do with the woman standing before them. The deadweight Alara slowly lowered her arm, flexing her fingers. She looked at the inert firewall, then back at her team, her expression unreadable. "The Chronos protocol is neutralized," she stated, her voice calm, as if she had merely flipped a light switch. "The vault's primary and secondary security systems have been permanently decommissioned. We can proceed with extraction." Kale, the burly slicer, was the first to move. He stumbled forward, his face pale, his eyes fixed on Alara's wrist, as if expecting the terrifying glow to return. You, ... You actually did it. You used the kill code." Zara, the stealth expert, swallowed hard, her usual bravado completely gone. I called you Deadweight." Her voice was barely a whisper, laced with a potent mix of shame and terror. Jackson, the leader, felt a profound shift in his understanding of power. He had always measured strength in terms of firepower, processing speed, and aggressive tactics. He had dismissed Alara as a liability, a quiet, unassuming analyst. He had been spectacularly, dangerously wrong. The woman he had scorned held the power to unravel entire digital civilizations. "Alara," Jackson said, his voice hoarse, stripped of all arrogance. Who are you?" Alara sighed, a long, weary exhalation. She looked at her wrist, then back at them. "I was part of Project Chimera," she began, her voice low, a distant echo of a past she had tried to bury. "A classified cyber warfare unit. We were developing adaptive countermeasures, ultimate deterrence. The kill code was the final phase. A direct neural interface, designed to bypass any known encryption, any firewall, any AI, to sever its existence from the digital plane. I was the primary operate." She paused, her gaze distant, as if seeing ghosts of a past she had escaped. "The project was decommissioned, deemed too dangerous. The code was supposed to be purged from my system, but it wasn't. It's embedded too deeply. A failsafe, they called it. A living weapon, carried by a ghost. So, you've been carrying that thing, ... all this time?" Kale asked, his voice still trembling. "Every day," Alara confirmed. "A burden, a last resort. I never wanted to use it. Never wanted to be that person again." Her eyes held a flicker of deep sadness, a profound weariness that explained her quiet demeanor, her detachment. She wasn't shy. She was guarded, burdened by a power that could reshape the world with a thought. The mission was completed. The Chronos protocol, or rather, its digital corpse, was secured. They extracted without further incident, the silence of the vault replaced by the thrum of their transport. But the dynamic within the team had irrevocably shifted. The taunts, the dismissive remarks, the casual cruelty, they were gone, replaced by a profound, almost fearful respect. No one called Alara Deadweight again. They called her Vain, or sometimes, in hushed whispers, the ghost. Jackson, humbled and changed, found himself deferring to her, seeking her quiet counsel. Recognizing the depth of her understanding, Kale, the brute force slicer, now approached her with questions, eager to learn from her intuitive grasp of complex systems. Zara, the stealth expert, kept a respectful distance, her eyes no longer holding disdain, but a wary admiration. Alara remained, Alara quiet, observant, still carrying her worn data slate. But now, when she spoke, everyone listened. They had seen the unseen edge, the terrifying power that lay beneath her unassuming exterior. They had called her Deadweight, and then they had frozen, staring at the kill code on her wrist, realizing, in a single terrifying moment, that they had been in the presence of a force that could unravel their entire world, and that the true measure of strength was often found not in the loudest voice, but in the quietest, most unexpected hands.